Okay, I think we're live. Let me double
Cool.
check that
Live.
really quick. I have
Did
to.
anyone hear us?
Okay, nice. Yeah, you're showing up,
Cool.
and I can hear you. Okay.
Hooray!
All right, welcome everybody. Let me pull up the chat really quick so I can see what everyone's saying. I don't know what's all the way over there. I can't see you guys. Let me blow this up a little bit. Nice. All right, let me just read the chat really quick. Yeah, we did change our profile picture to Rui, cause why not? You know, she's best girl after all, right?
She's fine.
She's great. Okay, welcome.
I don't know if she's allowed to be best girl if she doesn't have a route.
Well, that's what people think. That's what they think. All right. So today I just wanted to do like a developer stream, talk about the project a bit in general and the Kickstarter. I know a lot of people have questions about that, so we'll try to answer that. And yeah, I'll be reading the chat. Usually when we do these kinds of streams, we have it like interview-like. So like I had Jacob Wilson on and Kathy a couple months back, and we just did like an interview thing. But we weren't really interacting with the chat that much. So today I just wanted to do that this time around. And talk to you guys and answer any questions you might have. Today I also have DJ. He writes for Ari. You can introduce yourself.
As David said, I am DJ. I write for Irie, and I would like to clarify that she is best girl, not Rui. So.
And we also have Hudson.
Yep. So I write for Mizuki. And I also do some of the programming.
Dude,
That's what I originally got hired for.
Yeah, you used to do
Programming
programming,
and
then like, didn't you also do like editing too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just do, whatever is needed.
Yeah, this kind of project is really weird because like you can get like recruited at first, and then you'll be like writing, and then eventually later you'll be doing like programming and editing and stuff like that. Because like when I first joined, I signed up to be a writer, and then I kind of like moved to editing, and then like for some reason I ended up being like the creative director, and it's really crazy. Like I had to wear so many hats during this project.
Yeah, that kind of just happened.
It just kind of just happened. Yeah, after a couple of years. Yeah. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anyone's questions for here. Yeah, the S from the studio. About that, I wanted to bring that up really quick. All these freaking years, I've been calling our studio Fallen Snow Studios, like plural. And I'm like, wait a minute, I looked at all the other accounts that we had on YouTube and Twitter, and it all had the S on it. I'm like, oh shit, we made this mistake for so many years. It's not plural, it's singular. So it's Fallen Snow Studio. I'm sorry,
well,
guys.
we all have like mini studios in our respective places of living, so I don't know, maybe we're all a little snowflakes.
That's true, yeah. Okay, so Birdie has a question. If you had a question and like I miss it, just type it in the chat again and I'll read it. Your top 3 rappers? Okay.
Okay. Interesting first question.
DJ, since you're a music man, you want to answer this first?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, top 3 rappers. First place. I don't know if I want to go like nostalgic value first place or like my current favorite rapper first place. I'll go with my current favorite rapper for first place, and that would be Hopsin.
Oh, I love Hopsin.
Yeah. He's fantastic. Second place, pure nostalgic value. Still listen to him occasionally. Eminem, just a classic. And Okay, third is gonna be a super underground pick. It's some dude that I saw in the New York subway like 86 years ago. His name's Benjamin Lyman.
Mm.
He's fucking amazing, and you should look him up. And maybe his music will be there. He does this thing where just like once a year he deletes literally everything that he has on the internet, and then just decides to come back on occasion.
Or-
He's so talented though; it's insane.
Oh, that's nuts. It's crazy. Benjamin, I'm gonna write his name. Benjamin Lyman. Okay.
Lyman, yeah, Lyman.
M-A-N. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Oh, nice. I'll listen to his stuff later.
do it if it's there.
Yeah, totally. Hudson?
Honestly, I don't know if I listen to enough rap to have like strong opinions.
Mm.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of other music, but not much rap. Like, and so like that's especially why I feel like I shouldn't say a top three, because then I'll reveal the fact that I don't listen to nearly enough rap. Because I know that I should be listening to more. But let's say, okay, so I know that what I've heard from Kendrick Lamar is really solid.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently went back and listened to a Tupac album, and that was also quite good. Then maybe I don't know what I would say for a third even. No, yeah, let's just stay with those two. Like, I feel like those are the two that I would feel most confident about.
Yeah, Tupac's an OG. He's really good. I love Tupac. My family used to listen to Tupac all the time when I was little. I'd be like 9 years old and they'd be blasting it. So I'm really familiar with like a lot of his songs. There's this one artist that I've been listening to recently. I'm trying to look up his name. Funnily enough, he blew up because of a Luigi meme, apparently. And hold on, the seashell Luigi meme. Seashell. I know it sounds really weird, but let me see. Oh yeah, Money Game. That's what it's called. All right. So his name is Ren, and I think he's like a British rapper, and he's super like good. His lyrics are like top tier. And I was listening to like a couple of his songs, and I was like, why didn't I hear about this guy before? And then like a month after I found out about him, that's when like somebody made some Luigi meme. I'll put this in the Discord so you guys can see it. Oh, or I can put it in the hold on, let me put it in the chat really quick. Can I put it in the chat? Oh yeah, I'll just do it on my account. All right. So I put it on the YouTube chat. Oh, okay, it's not a clickable link. That's weird. But you can watch that, and it's like a portion of what he sings, and it's super funny too. But aside from Ren, Eminem is definitely like my favorite, I think. Just like based on
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, you
with
can't
him.
go wrong with Eminem because he also has like a couple of different styles too. Like he changed his music over the years, and so. You know, if you don't like his hardcore stuff from like back then, you can listen to his recent stuff too. So it's I guess Eminem, Ren, and I know a couple of rappers. I just can't think of them at the top of my head. I'm actually Googling it right now.
Oh, actually, am I allowed to say the Beastie Boys for third? Like they're
Ooh,
partially
that's a
rap.
good, yeah, the one that's still alive.
Right.
I don't think I've heard the Beastie Boys. Oh no, yeah, I have heard them. Yeah.
I fucking
like,
love
they're
them.
sort
I
of,
grew
like,
up on
rap
them.
rock almost, but like I think they still count.
Have you ever heard anything from like their really early days before they even started rapping? They were just a fucking like hardcore underground punk band.
Yeah,
and it's
well,
the weirdest shit. Like
well,
listening
yeah.
to it now.
At some point, I went through and listened to their like whole discography on Spotify. So unless it was like even earlier than they even have on Spotify, but yeah, definitely like they went through a few different phases there, which was cool to see.
Yeah, I have to listen to the songs because I think I know one of them, but I just can't remember it right now.
You definitely know Sabotage.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Let me look at the questions again. Okay. Oh look, it's Isaac. Interesting name. I need to be honest, I have no idea what's going on. Oh, thanks. We love you guys too. we have Spartan says we have the writers of both Corporal Life Paths in the attendance.
Yeah, we're the two corporate side and the two rebellion side aren't here. So we're just
Oh yeah.
it's
That's
fully
that's
under
true.
the sway of our corporate sponsors.
I was like wondering, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, of course. And then I think you read this already, DJ. It says I played Lucid. Hi DJ, I played Lucid9, and I also played Incompatible Species, where you voiced Lucius.
Lucius, yeah,
Lucius?
Lucius Godwin. Yeah, that was a visual novel I did a few years ago. I was one of the 2 actors for Lucius, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. That project. Keira Buckland's in it. People know her. She played my sister, and it was just a fun time. I haven't talked to anyone in that project ever since it ended, though. So
I haven't heard of that one. Let me check it out really quick. Incompatible Species. Oh yeah, I remember it now.
it's fun. Yeah, it was a cute little game.
Yeah, I know that you did editing stuff. I know that you did voiceover stuff too for some visual novels, but I think I haven't seen this one yet. I'll have to check this one
I've
out.
done a decent number of like hardcore yaoi games too, which is a part of my life that I never thought would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done any acting in like 2 years.
Yeah, you've been
like with the exception of this one ongoing project that I'm a part of, but that's like not even a paid thing. It's just like this one girl's passion project, and it was one of my first roles that I was ever cast in. And that's called Amongst Other Things, if anyone wants to look it up. It's so awesome. It's like Scott Pilgrim meets fucking, I don't know, Schitt's Creek. Let's go with, but reverse Schitt's Creek.
Yeah, you've been pretty preoccupied with lessons in love, right? Like
Yeah, that's my life now. I don't sleep anymore. I just fucking do that. Which is great. Like it's awesome being able to make a living off of writing stuff finally. I'm just glad that something finally stuck.
Yeah, I check in occasionally, and I was looking at some of the announcements, and I think I remember reading somewhere that you wrote like 1 million words or something.
Yeah, current word count is 1.3 million.
Holy
So that
shit.
makes it longer than the entire Harry Potter series. Longer than fucking Lord of the Rings. It's right now I think it's the second longest Renpai game by word count. I could be wrong though. By the end of the year it will be the longest though, so it's not even a big deal.
You are a madman.
Yeah, well no, I'm literally a madman. Like it's not healthy to write this much, but fucking I do it anyway.
Honestly, I kind of wish I wrote that much, because like, for me as a writer, sometimes I would have an idea in my head, but like just the process of sitting down and getting to it is just really like kind of overwhelming. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially if you don't know like what you might have like an initial idea, but like the hard part is like trying to figure out what the process, like the outline of everything. And if you don't know what you're gonna do like going into it, then you're kind of like just like, oh shit, what do I do now? You know what? I'll probably just go play a video game and then come back to it. And then 2 weeks later, you come back to it, and the page is still empty. But
Yeah, I've been there. I cannot afford to have that happen anymore though, so it's like writer's block at this point is just like a thing that you have to work through, and it's like, okay, I fucking hate everything that I'm doing right now. Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like sometimes you'll sit down and you'll have nothing and just be stuck, and then you'll sit there for 4 more hours and you have to like force yourself to keep going, and then look back at it later and be like, wow, okay, I understand why I had such trouble doing this. But yeah, it's something we all have to deal with.
Yeah, it's the worst of writer's block, and I guess it applies to like a lot of other creative fields too, because a lot of artists have the same issues, and
Yeah.
voice actors too. Let me read Let me see. Do you have any estimates on how long the final game will be, including to route? Yeah. Let me pull up this blog thing because I really went ham on all the details about that. Let me see.
Nice. I don't have to do math now.
Yeah, I hate doing math, and I had to do math for that post. I was like, oh shit. All right. So, wait, let me read the question again. How
Just an
long-
estimate on how long everything combined plus the true route will be.
Right. So that'd be. What,
I don't even know how long the true route's going to be.
Yeah, honestly,
Right.
I would
think
say.
that's the.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, I was saying the true route probably is the most variable at this point.
Yeah.
Like the rest, we're all expecting somewhere in the vicinity of 100K. Though I
Yeah.
would expect that some of them might go a bit over that, but.
So right now, I have this thing pulled up, and I went through all the scripts like quite a while back, and Inciting Incident has over 230,000 words, and that's also including like kind of like the what do you call that? Like the script markers. It's not so much as like the dialogue and the narrative, but like fade to black and the background
all the
stuff.
literal words.
Yeah. So all the literal words, it's about 230,000, and around 12 hours, probably a little bit less than that. So that's for Inciting Incident, and based on what I read on Steam and stuff, it was around 12 hours most people got through. Who the hell is texting me? Ari's route. Right now I did a count. It's probably changed, but the total word last time I checked was around 100,000. And I guess the rating estimate's like around 6 hours. And you're almost finished with that route, I believe. So it would be probably.
Yeah,
what?
I have 2 events left, or 2 chapters left in the thing. That's just how we structure it. There aren't actually chapters in the game itself, but 2 more scenes that I have to write. But then we might get a much different word count swap because I have to completely change a lot of the early game stuff due to like story restructuring, because a lot of the first parts of Irie's route right now will make literally no sense in Lucid9 if I do not change them. So that's the thing.
Yeah, so that I guess I would take that with a grain of salt, with the word count, because a lot of revision is needed. Well, not a whole lot, but like some revision is needed. So it's gonna change like depending on the route. So right now Akira's route. I think some of you already know, but we had to like change the writer for Akira again. So they're already all caught up with everything, and so they're gonna get to writing eventually. I guess once we finish the the Kickstarter stuff. But right now, the last time I checked, that was around 37,000 words, which is around like 2 hours of reading. And then Elizabeth is 146,000, which is around 8 hours. And Misaki's is around 35,000, which is around 2 hours. So I'm kind of estimating, like based off these numbers, that like most routes are good. Hold on, give me a second. Let me mute my freaking phone. Ugh. I swear, they only do this when I'm streaming. Okay. So, based on these numbers, I imagine they're gonna be around Inciting Incidents reading estimate. So like each route probably around like 10 hours or so. So that's 4 routes. So that's like 40 hours of read time. And then the true route, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a bit less than all the other routes. So I want to say probably like maybe half of that. So around, I don't know, 5 hours of reading.
That's fair.
Yeah. Especially with the structure. I don't want to go too much into it, but it's going to be a bit different than what the rounds were doing. All right, let me check the other questions. But that's our estimate for that. Do do you create character sheets or anything similar to? Hold on. Do you create character sheets or anything similar to record the traits of the people in your story? What kind of info do you include, and how detailed are they? Asked by Tapeball. Yeah, we use Trello for this. Trello is really handy. And Trello, we basically have like all the character sheets, and we have all the art and the music, and you can put pretty much anything in that. And for the characters, we have like specific, I want to say like cards for them. And so we have like Yama and Rui, and then if you click on their photo, it'll have like their name and like their backstory and their personality traits and their quirks. And it gets pretty detailed depending on the character. So we have like around, I don't know, 20 plus characters in this game. So we like have a lot of cards here. And if we didn't keep track of that, then things would get very messy very quickly. And so if you're a developer and you like have a lot of characters in the game, I honestly would recommend using Trello over like the other stuff, because like if you use Google Docs, it's not really how do I say this, like visually appealing?
Yeah, that's a fair way to say it.
Yeah. Because Google,
like, you go. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, like Google Docs are like just mostly for like writing stuff. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, yeah, Trello really comes in handy for scenario writers in particular, because like me as Irie's writer, I'm largely uninvolved with several characters in the game, and so like, if I'm confused about something, it's nice having like a bullet pointed thing to look back at and be like, okay, well this is that, because it's like I'm obviously more familiar with my character than every other character in the series, especially the ones that aren't going to show up in my route. So yeah, Trello definitely comes in handy for that.
Yeah, and with the characters too, because like the writers, they're in charge of like, I don't know, around 3 to 4 characters that are like specific to their route. I keep saying route and route. So it varies between the writers, so they might have more characters to handle than, you know, someone else. And so it really is handy like having all these and just looking at it and then reading through their thing and like, oh, okay, so they're like this. And you know, the writers also check in with each other when it comes to like the scripts. It's like, does Ari talk this way? And DJ can say, yeah, she talks like that, or maybe she wouldn't say this and I'll change this. So there's like a lot of collaboration.
Yeah, there has to be on a project like this.
Yeah, honestly, this project ended up very, very large compared to when it first started, because like, from what I remember, the scope was like, it was a lot more contained, I want to say, without saying too much. And now
it was just one really fucking big document in the past.
Oh my god. That document, oh yeah, that was like over 100,000 word document. And
it was a big fucking document, and when I started on Irie's route, I didn't realize that it was like an outdated thing. So I was just like referring to this archaic document that was no longer relevant, and I had to like change a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was my bad. I should have told you sooner.
It's whatever.
Yeah, that was a document that I made because like I wanted everyone to like have a better idea of what was going on throughout the entire story. Because with the writers, you guys are mostly focused on like specific portions of the story rather than the whole thing. And so, you know, we would need something that kind of like puts everything together cohesively. And so I made that document, you know, structuring like the outline, the true routes, the heroine routes, the character descriptions. But I quickly realized, you know, as we brought on new writers, things would change. And then I kind of looked at the document and I'm like, oh shit, I should probably change some of this stuff. And while I did my best to try to do it, it just got too much. And just navigating the document is like you had to scroll up and scroll all the way down, and you're like, where the hell did I leave this portion? And so like, you know, eventually kind of switched over to Trello, and it's been way easier than using Google Docs for that. I'm never doing that again. Alright, let me make sure I didn't miss any questions. Alright. So Spartan says, also I gotta ask, when can I start throwing money at the Kickstarter? Yeah,
The real question.
that's the question that everybody's asking her. Honestly, I can't give a specific date because, you know, we got most of the hard part out of the way, and that was just figuring out like the funding. I literally had to like contact every single person who was involved in the project, and that was like 20 plus people. And so I had to wait on, you know, people because, you know, they have other things going on in their life. And it took a while to hear back from some of them. And it took even longer to like figure out, okay, well, is this amount for like this area like arts or like writing? Is it doable? Is it realistic? And we kind of like had to figure out the best way to go about that without, you know, getting too crazy, because we'll be asking for a lot of money, and if that is not something that we can achieve, like the Kickstarter's, you know, it's not gonna survive. And so we kind of had to like figure out a realistic number for the funding goal, and it took a bit. I think right now we're probably at a good amount. I talked to Jacob as well, because I know that we wanted the voice acting to be with the main funding goal because they already did work on it. But the problem with that was like, voice acting's a lot, especially with how long Inciting Incident is. And so naturally they're going to be asking for a lot of money, and so we're gonna have to like we're gonna have to split it up. So we're gonna have to have like the main funding goal be the development specifically for the development for the routes, and then what do you call that?
Stretch goals.
Yeah, and that's gonna be for the voice acting. So if we meet the stretch goals, we'll have voice acting. But, you know, there might be a possibility that we might not. But, and here's the thing that I didn't consider at first. We can always do another campaign in the future. So if we don't meet it now, and we finish the project, we send it out, and a lot of people like it, and then that'll give us traction to like be able to fund voice acting for the entire thing. And so we'll be taking that direction going forward. And so any money that we'll be raising for the Kickstarter will mostly be for development for the routes, and then the stretch goals they're add-ons. So it'll be voice acting, and if we make even more, then we'll have like more editing, more art, more writing. No, not more writing. More music, and just like polish it up even more. Because like right now, I know that we're kind of like limiting most of the assets. So we'll have like a specific number of assets that we're requiring for each route. So like for example, Irie will have like around 6, and that'll be the same for the other routes. Because if we go too crazy with that, you know, it's gonna imbalance the funding goal, and it's not something that we can afford right now, especially with, you know, the project being free and all that. So yeah, that's a pretty difficult. It's really tricky dealing with money. That's one of the main reasons we kind of like steered away for the longest time. But you know, we're already going on what, like 7+ years.
A long fucking time.
Yeah. So, I figured, might as well take the fucking shot. Might as well just,
We kind of have to at this point.
Yeah.
This is a huge undertaking for a thing that literally no one is getting paid for.
Right.
So it was like, once you bring money into the picture, people are gonna get more motivated and will like be able to set aside more time to do the work. Because as of right now, it's just like when we have free time, we'll work on this. And most of our free time is spent making money. So hard to do that.
Right. And when I first started this project, I was in high school. I was in senior year. And I worked on this project like most of my time in college, and I just graduated last year. And right now I'm already looking for like work in my career. And that's been really fucking difficult with like COVID and shit. And so like, I kind of felt like, yeah, if we keep waiting, the members are gonna like, they have their lives to like live, and something might come up, living situation might change, or medical problems or anything, and so the longer we wait, the less likely it's going to, not wait, but the longer we go on developing, the less likely it is for the game to be finished. And I really don't want that, because I've been working on this for a long time. A lot of you have been working on it for a long time too. And we really don't want that to go to waste. And the project's great. I love the project. And, the Kickstarter is kind of like the last Hail Mary, I'd say. So hopefully it all goes well. I'm trying to do my best to make sure nothing goes wrong. Well, not go wrong, but like, it goes smoothly.
Yeah, I get it.
Right.
Yeah. And so
that's also sort of why, right? Like, we want to keep the base goal like as focused on the fundamentals as we can, and then we can have whatever wide variety of stretch goals we want to have beyond that. And then,
right.
Like, I mean, if anything, right? Like, I don't know if there's a nice way to do this in Kickstarter. Maybe we could figure something out. But like, we could even say like, once we get past the main goal, then if people could vote somehow for which stretch goals they want to prefer. Right, like that, something like that could be cool. I think, like, do you want more art, or do you want voice acting, or do you want, right? Because at that point, it's just like, what more should we add on top of this?
Well, I guess it depends. I guess that's how, like, from what I've seen with Kickstarters, like, they have, like, say their base project is like 30,000, and then voice acting is like 40,000, so it's like 10,000, and added on top of that. And then additional art is like 50,000, and so kind of like increases. So I don't think it's like less of a voting thing and more like incremental thing. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how it's usually set up. But I mean, I'm saying we potentially could have the flexibility to allow for that, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to be promising
a
anything,
situational
but,
thing, because like voice acting is a huge expense, and so like if we make voice acting the first stretch goal, it doesn't really make much sense if voice acting costs like 4 times more than art. Like you would do like art first or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's kind of tricky to do something like that, but in theory it would be cool.
Yeah. So I'd say for us, we probably have like the base game, and then after that it would be I don't know, additional art, and then after that I don't think we really need additional music, because like we have a lot of freaking music tracks.
Yeah, there's a lot of music there.
So I think we're fine with music. If anything, if we would need more music, I would say probably what do you call that? Like opening music?
Yeah, like a cinematic.
Yeah. So we might have that as a stretch goal. But I honestly don't know how much that would cost. So I have to figure that out first. But when it comes to music, we'll probably have that. I also have a document for that. So it was art, music, voice acting, of course. I think voice acting would be at the very bottom of the thing because of how much it costs.
Like, yeah, the big goal.
Yeah. So let me open this document. Where is it? Is it? Oh no, I made a whole separate thing for it. Backer rewards, no. Where is? Here it is, stretch goals. Okay, so additional art, additional music, voice acting, fully voiced. Opening theme song, and oh yeah, animated cutscenes. I think that would probably be even more than the voice acting, depending.
Yeah, that doesn't sound.
That I know it's very unrealistic, but
that's
it'd be
what,
great
that's
if
what
we
we
had
do
that.
if we somehow end up with way too much money.
Yeah.
Have to find something to spend it on.
That'd be awesome. It would be nuts if we had animated cutscene. Let me check the questions really quick again. Ba. Okay, question asked by Alex. What would be your overall favorite game series? Okay.
Game series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's a title with like more than one, Fear. The shooter, the horror shooter.
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
Oh.
Isn't that like the AI for that game really weird? Or not like weird, but like really advanced, right?
It was really good. Fear was fucking way ahead of its time in a lot of different ways. But my favorite thing about it, and it's a weird thing to be like my favorite thing about the game, is that the lag in it when you're playing online was absolutely absurd. And the weirdest shit would happen when your game was lagging. Like I remember one time, I went to throw a grenade at somebody, and a gun came out. And in Fear, if you hit someone directly with a grenade, they would just die. Like, that was it. And so I threw this gun at the dude, and it just whacks him in the head, and he falls over and dies with zero fanfare. And it was it's probably the best moment in any game that I've ever played. So, yeah. Other than that, though, it's horrifying. It is an actually scary game. So, Fear. Yeah, definitely.
I heard about that one a lot, and I meant to check it out because I'm a huge fan of FPS games.
When I peaked as a gamer, I was top 30 in the world at one point.
Wow.
Oh, wait, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Specifically on Xbox, though.
Dude, don't they have, like, prizes for that if you get to a certain level?
I don't know. I was like fucking 13 or 14 at the time, so...
I remember when I used to be younger, I had a GameCube, and I would play really old games like, you probably wouldn't even know this one, but it's called Ty, the Tasmanian Tiger.
Oh yeah.
And I would play that for the longest time. And then once I finished everything in the game. I got all the collectibles and all the secret items and stuff. And so I'm like, maybe I should contact the company and they'll give me money for finishing their game. And I was like, and now thinking back on it, like, what the fuck was I thinking? They wouldn't do that. But yeah, that's crazy. I think my favorite games would be series. Honestly, I haven't been following that many series, cause like I'm really into Dark Souls, but I played Dark Souls 3. That was my first one, so I haven't played the other ones yet. I like Persona, but I played 5 and haven't played the other ones. And so like all the game series, like I'm starting at the very end of it. I guess if you're classifying visual novels as games too, I would say probably Steins Gate was like my main one.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a good choice.
Like everything about that game, I fucking love it. It's like my favorite. What about you, Hudson?
Yeah, so visual novel wise, I would say Steins Gate as well. Sorts of other categories, probably Civilization would have to be up there. I think 5 is still the best. But 3
Absolutely.
and 4 were also really good. I haven't played 6 yet because it
6
sounds like
sucks.
it's not
Don't play
really
it.
good.
Just
Okay,
keep
okay.
playing 5. Don't play 6.
Cool.
It's so bad.
In the real retro sense, honestly, probably Roller Coaster Tycoon would have to be up there.
Oh, that is
Mostly because of the first one. Like the
sleeper
first
pick.
one is
That's so
just
good.
so good for the time. And I mean, the second one like added on various other stuff. I don't even know what happened to it after that. I think it went downhill. But like, yeah, at that time, so good. And then also probably, yeah. Then have to get into like the Nintendo side series. Fire Emblem would be up there. Pokemon probably. I mean, I have to, right? Like, definitely like more varying quality. But Legends Arceus is really good. So that sort of bumped it back up where it had been going downhill, I think. Yeah.
There's so many Pokemon games, like I honestly can't keep track of everything. It's like the last one I played was like on the Game Boy Advance. That was like the last time I played Pokemon. Question. All right. It's nice to see you guys alive and kicking. Yeah, we're trying our best. Trying our best. Oh boy, do I have the game for you? To what?
VA.
To VA. By story. Okay. Nico asks question: how will the game take place now? We will choose a heroine and follow her POV, and we'll have to play all the routes to unlock the true route, or have Yama's POV following a girl story. Yeah, so I know the prologues might have been a bit confusing because like it switched to their point of view for the heroines. I can't say that it's not gonna be like that through the entire routes. We only did that for the introduction because it'd be easier, you know. It's kind of like introduction to show people that the writing style is not gonna be the same as Inciting Incident. It's gonna be a bit different, and that'll help like ease people into the different writing style, just like having the point of view shift. And so it's gonna. The prologues are mostly just the heroine routes, and it might shift from time to time depending on which route you go on, you know, from one character to another. But for the most part, Yama is going to be the main character in the routes. So for the unlocking of the true route, sorry, my brain's having
This was like a contentious topic because I remember a few of us wanted a different thing.
Yeah.
For that, like I know my idea, and I'm not saying it was a unique idea or anything, but what I wanted was I wanted the true route only accessible after all of the other routes were complete. I feel like that's how it normally goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a couple people were like, no, though. So I don't know what we landed on.
So I think we.
I don't know if we decided with the current true route plan where exactly it will appear from. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, should we say? Can we say now at this point, like, what the experience will be for starting a heroine route?
For starting one, I think.
Yeah. I mean, because it's not totally clear right now, right? Should we explain that?
Weren't we having it carry over from Inciting Incident where whatever one you kind of landed on is what heroine route you would wind up in?
Yeah. That like how it will work there is that just, you know, after the events of Inciting Incident, depending on who you pick on the last day, we'll basically just go right into the heroine route from there, starting with that prologue scene and then continuing from that point from Yama's point of view for the most part.
Right. Yeah. And also, I think it was Dia who made the announcement too, like a year ago, just like stating that it was the routes are going to take like three years after the events of Inciting Incident, and so that was like a big thing. And I guess that's kind of clear from the prologues already. So, but yeah, for the true route though, I think we do have something for that. The true route was like a big mystery for the longest time, and it was probably one of the hardest things to work on because like for a mystery visual novel, we needed to figure out, you know, well, depending on the player's choices, how would the true route play out? You know, especially given what happened after Inciting Incident. And so like we're kind of like having this internal conflict, like how should we go about it? And I did come up with an idea. I remember reading it somewhere. I forgot if I got it from one of the members or like from some other place. But I don't want to spoil too much of that, but I do want to say that it's going to be a bit different than how the routes are structured. But to unlock it, I would say you would have to read through all the entire heroine routes just to see it, because that's usually how true routes go about anyway.
Right. I mean, I think with the plan, like, that specifically does make sense, because we are expecting that there will be certain pieces of information that you get from each heroine route
Right.
that will inform the true route, however you want to put that.
Yeah, so the true route basically serves as a way to, like, show the reader exactly what happened. Like, just the outline of everything. And, the heroine routes kind of, like, hone in on, like, the specific details. And, like, from different areas, different factions and stuff. And so that's how it's going to be structured. I know it's a little confusing. Even now, for the longest time, trying to figure out the best way to go about it and not have everything fall apart. Sarah, she was one of our editors, and she used to write for Ari too. She helped me a lot with structuring the outline for everything, and so I probably would have gone crazy if I didn't have her help with like everything. So big thanks to her, and especially you guys too. The heroine writers really, they've been a great help, because like there's a lot of details that I might miss, even though as a creative director you have to like have a lot of stuff on your mind that's not also specifically story related. And so it's a great help having like multiple writers like remind me sometimes, so, like, this is how this character
We can like
is.
focus on key things. Yeah.
Right. And because there's like a lot of information, and I don't think it's possible for any one person to like remember everything. So just having that collaboration is just very, very helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Without you guys, I honestly would have gone crazy a very long time ago.
What would we do without you?
Right.
Goes both ways.
Someone says, "Ew, math." Yes, math sucks. Is it just me, or is like every single writer very horrible at math?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can't be good at two things. That's asking too much. We have to choose one.
It's like
You're good at English or you're good at math.
I took writing classes in college, and like every single one of my friends who were writers, they all were horrible at math.
Yeah. It's dumb.
I actually got a minor in math.
What?
But
What?
Yeah, well, fuck you, man.
right. Well, that's because I'm entirely coming at this from the wrong direction, right? Because I'm really a programmer, right? So I'm allowed to be good at math. Just secretly also a writer.
That's true. Your writing's pretty good though, so.
Thank you.
Okay, so Tape Ball asks, some writers plan out the whole story in advance, and others just start writing and see where things go. Where do you all fall on that spectrum? So I can let you guys.
First.
Yeah,
I'll go first. I definitely, absolutely do not plan out every little thing. The way I work as a writer is I will plan out major points, where I start, where I end up, and then everything in between that is just filling in the blanks. So I feel like if you plot out every single detail and outline every single thing about every event you're going to make, your game will not feel realistic. It will feel stupid and calculated and unnatural, and I don't like when things feel that way. I feel like the best way to have a natural feeling story is to just let the story write itself and to know where you have to go and where you're going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's pretty similar for me, honestly. Yeah, definitely. Certain points, in the future is like, okay, this will have to happen at some point, and then we want to end up here, right? But like most of the actual stuff in between there, like, I mean, especially for just like a scene or a conversation, like I try to plan that out specifically as little as possible because, like, I mean, a conversation could end up going in a different direction than I expect, and it's like, oh well, I mean, I guess that's how that conversation goes, right? Like, you can't then force it back onto a different path. Yeah, so it's really just like if you establish the characters well enough and you just have their perspectives and their opinions and what they're trying to do, like a lot of the stories just sort of has to fall naturally out of that. And like if you're trying to push it in particular directions too hard, then it just won't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with a lot of things, it's pretty much like a balancing act, because if you go too hard on planning everything out, every single minute detail, you're really leaving yourself no room to like get creative. Because like once you start writing a scene and you're like, oh, this might be good to include, but wait, this is not supposed to that's not how it's supposed to go. Because like I wrote it this way, or I outlined it this way, and so I have to go with this rather than this new cool idea. But also, if you don't know what if you don't have at least like a vague idea of what you're gonna do when you're sitting down and writing, it can be a little really daunting, like trying to figure out how to even go about it at first. So it's really, you have to fall in the middle of that. And personally for me, when I write stuff, I would like just an outline, a very, very rough outline. And it also depends on the scope of the project, because if you're writing a short story, I think you have more leeway to like not concern yourself too much over an outline, because you can just like start it and see where things go from there, and you can go back and revise it because it's only around 2,000 words, so it's not too heavy. But if you're getting into a longer story, you're definitely going to need some kind of structure at least, because you're going to be going through pages and pages of content, and just revising that it's going to be a lot of work. So I guess for me, I mostly write, aside from the stuff that I've been doing for this project, I don't really write that much anymore. But when I first started for Inciting Incident, I did a couple of scenes for Misaki, and for that I kind of like outlined a couple of things that I wanted, and it was also mostly Dia's stuff too. He mostly outlined how things were going to play out in Inciting Incident, because he was the director at the time, and so for that I kind of like did the outline most of the time, so I was pretty restricted. But when it comes to my original work, I mostly do short stories, so I kind of like just go with the wind, see where it takes me. Sometimes I have an idea and I kind of outline it a little bit, and I write it like that, but it's very rare for me to do that. But yeah. It really depends on like the writer too. Let me check the comments again.
I think the next one is which character was the hardest to write, which isn't really applicable since we all write different characters.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, among the shared characters though, like I feel like
Oh.
I mean, obviously Shigure is hard to write
yeah.
in her own way because you have to use complicated words. But I feel like Natsuki, right, probably has to be the hardest to write. Like, she just has so much going on that, like, it's very easy to write her just slightly wrong, and then she just feels completely
Fucking
off.
love writing her so much. She is my absolute
Right,
favorite.
I mean, it's
to
very
write.
enjoyable, but, like, I feel like it's also more challenging than a lot
She's
of the
so, oh my god, I love her. She's so good. I wish I could have just written an entire Natsuki thing. Shigure, definitely, 100% for me. I have fucking just like, I have to like look up special words anytime she talks. It's like I'm not smart enough to write for her.
I think when I first started, I was supposed to be like the main writer, like what Luna was doing. So before Luna joined and like wrote most of it, I was writing scenes with Shigure, and Dia explained her character to me, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, how am I supposed to go about this? And so the way I did it was like I just had Google up on on one side of my screen and had my document on the other side, and I would Google words like, all right, so what's the synonym for this word and what sounds the most fancy? It's like, okay, postulate. I'll put that. I'll write that.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
That's the right word.
So that's pretty much how I handle it. I think even Luna too. She said that Shigeru was probably the hardest. I think she can correct me on that if she's watching this or later. But yeah,
She's
Shigeru is.
fucking smart. It's annoying.
She's too smart. We're not smart
You know,
enough
the
for this.
easiest Irie. Just like 3 words at
Just-
max.
And not even 3 words. It's just like ellipses. That's just
It's
that's
like,
the
I
whole
see.
line for Irie.
Like, okay, cool. Thanks, Irie. Eats a peach. Like, okay, good.
Munching noises. Alright, so Takuza? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Lucid9, is, in my opinion, is the best English visual novel I have read up to now. By the way, Lessons in Love has great potential, but I got stuck and now I'm waiting for the rewriting of the initial sections. Oh, you're rewriting it?
Yeah, I just put out my last normal update for the next couple months. The early like few hours of the game I just fucking don't like at all because I got so much better as time went on, and I was working like 90 hours a week when I was in the opening stages of Lessons in Love. So I'm basically going back and remaking all of the old content and changing up a lot of the writing and even more of the visuals. Like it's a huge rework. It's not just like I'm just gonna make it look prettier. Like no, like 150 plus events are changing. It's a big thing. So if you're thinking about playing Lessons in Love, don't yet. Wait several months and then play it because the beginning is not good. It is way too sexy.
It's too sexy. How long have you been working on that?
A little over 2 years now. The first release was March 17th, 2020.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, usually that's what happens when you're working on a project for a long time. Like, once you start writing it, and then, like, a year, 2 years down the road, you look back and like, well, why the fuck did I write this? Why does it suck so much?
Yeah, dude, I had no idea because, like, in the beginning, like, I was being serious about it, but I wasn't being super serious because I was just like, I am going to profit off of a game with pornographic content in it because that seems like an easy route to take. And then I started doing that, and I like looked at it and I was like, I can't do this anymore, and I like, turned it into a real game. And so you've got just these huge pacing issues in the beginning where it's like you're banging people that shouldn't be banged, and it's like, why is this happening right now? Like, give me like 10 more hours before this happens. So yeah, that's gonna change.
Yeah, it's also something that's pretty common with like Lucid9 too, because like I know we've been working on this for a long time, and so I look back at the content that we did for Inciting Incident. Although I didn't do the writing or, you know, the art and all that stuff, I know that some of the artists, they look back on their previous art and they're like, why did I draw this? And as you can see in their art that they did for the heroine rounds, they did some improvement, and you can see like the differences between that. And even now, the art that they did for that was like, I think like a year ago already. And so they've improved even more on that. And so the difficult part with working on a project for so long, you're gonna have like differing levels of like quality. So like in the very beginning, you're gonna have very like rough, very rigid, and you know, overall not super bad or anything, but like just rough. And then
And like, yeah, we're all young creators to begin with.
Yeah.
And so we're constantly improving just because we're not at our full potential yet. So it's like there's always going to be shit we're not happy with.
Right. It's like many of us too. Like many of us started this project when we were in high school, and I think even before high school. Oh, no, I don't think anybody was that young. I think it was just mostly high school. And like when you're in high school, you're like probably like 18, 17. You really don't know that much about the world. You don't know anything about like the career that you're eventually gonna get into, and like starting a project this large and trying to get it right the first time is pretty much impossible. And so you work on the project, you write for it, you hopefully publish something, hopefully people like it, and then if you continue it, you're gonna have better quality, better writing, better art, stuff like that. And then you look back at your old work and you're like, oh no. Especially with us too, because like Inciting Incident, there's no way we can change like the quality of that. It's just gonna stay like that. And so the only thing we can improve on is just whatever comes after that. And it's less about, I guess it's mostly about funding too, because like just the amount of work that needs to be done, going back and revising everything. I'm too afraid to even think about that. It's like, let's just get everything that we need to get finished, and then, that's it, I guess. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Hire? Oh no, wait. D. Yeah, D asks, how will the genre of part of two? Oh wait, how will the genre of part 2 heroine routes differ from Inciting Incident? For example, will it have more romance, and will it have mystery elements? Yeah, so this, I can say it's gonna be a lot darker than Inciting Incident. Just the overall tone, especially given like what happens after Inciting Incident. So we don't want to to focus too much on like slice of life. Although we do realize a lot of people like the slice of life in Inciting Incident, so we don't want to get rid of that too much. So while there's gonna be a balance of like slice of life and like just the dark tone, it's mostly gonna be pretty dark. For the romance and for the mystery elements, it's gonna hit hard and more on the mystery, I'd say, because Inciting Incident, the name pretty much gives it away. It's like what happens before, and so Inciting Incident is just mostly the story of like this high school kid, and he's trying to solve a mystery, and but most of the time he's just like hanging out with his friends and stuff. But the next part in the heroine routes is 3 years later, and the events, like everything that happens, it's gonna hit hard in the mystery. We're gonna focus a lot on the mystery, and even the way the routes are structured, kind of like sorry, my brain is not working today. So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of mystery. It's gonna have more romance, more mystery. The romance section, I would say, like any other visual novel, it's going to happen naturally and gradually, I would say. It's not something that happens like in the first scene. You have like Elizabeth and Yama making out, and you have to like build up to that. So that's what's gonna happen for that. If you guys want to add to that,
yeah, like
anyway?
Romance is a part of it. Like it's not the key focus of the heroine routes. It's not like, oh, just Yama is going to be a ladies' man now.
Yeah.
It's like it's still Lucid9 at the end of the day. But when you have characters that spend so much time together, that is just kind of like how it works in visual novels. Like you're on the heroine's route. Chances are there's probably going to be some romance. So it won't be the focal point, but it will be there.
Yep. Like, I mean, if anything, right? I mean, because in Inciting Incident, there are the various, optional scenes, right, that are slightly in a romantic sort of direction. So really, it's just sort of an extension of that, except that obviously now that you're on a route, it's just focused to, one individual,
Right.
as opposed to being split between all four of them. But yeah. I mean, yeah, realistically, all of it is one big mystery, right? And Inciting Incident is just sort of the start of that. So it's just, a very spread out mystery. And, depending on what route you're on, there may be more or less additional mysteries involved. But like all of it is sort of in service of that larger story and that larger mystery.
Yeah. If I had to equate it to anything, I'm having a lot of voice cracks. If I had to equate it to anything, it's pretty much like, kind of like how Steins Gate goes about it. You know, you have like your fun everyday slice of life in the beginning, and then something happens, and then people are sad, and the main character spends time with the heroine, and things develop from there. But it kind of like built up to that. It's a gradual thing. And that's pretty much like how any story works, honestly. If you read like I was about to say the Twilight series. If you read like I guess the Hunger Games too, like if you read the Hunger Games, it kind of oh no, that's a bit different now, honestly, because that starts off sad and ends sad. But
Good comparison, David.
But it's pretty much like that in most of the stories, at least in visual novels. So
Yeah, I get it.
yeah. What are your top 3 fast food restaurants for fries? Asked by Hire.
I'll go.
Fries. Go ahead.
Okay, number 3. I'm gonna say McDonald's. I have not eaten at McDonald's in like 5 years, because it's McDonald's and I can avoid it now. But I will still admit that they have very good fries. Number 2, we're gonna go with Popeyes, the Cajun fries specifically. I love Cajun anything, and this might be a recency bias thing because I had Popeyes for dinner last night. But fries are fantastic. Number 1 though, I'm gonna go Jack in the Box, curly fries specifically, because curly fries are the best. There's no better fry than curly fries.
Yep. Okay, I didn't put them in order, but Jack in the Box is definitely going to be one of them. I would have to put McDonald's out of the top 3 even, because Wendy's has like made basically a better version of McDonald's fries.
They gave me food poisoning, so I don't count
Really?
them towards anything anymore.
Oh, that's probably not the fries though.
I honestly don't think it's the fries. I don't think it's the fries.
Shake Shack has solid fries. I think probably I would say Shake Shack number 3, Jack in the Box number 2 with the curly fries. Yeah, I think they just still have the best like classic curly fries. Number 1, I'd have to say Five Guys.
See, I don't count them as fast food. That if we count Five Guys, I'd put Five Guys at number 3 instead of McDonald's. Like I don't count them.
I wasn't sure whether we were counting as fast food. How fast does it have to be?
Fast food, it's frozen and like pre-prepared a lot of the time. Like fast food fries, they don't make fries to order. Like there's a fucking hot tub full of fries that they scoop into a thing, and Five Guys isn't like that. Like, you order fries, they'll be like, okay, we're gonna make your fries right now, and then they make them. Moderately paced food.
Yeah, for me, I would say McDonald's is the top number 1. I don't think any place can beat McDonald's. They put something in their fries that activates your brain neurons and makes you addicted to them. When I was going to high school, there was a McDonald's right by my high school, and I would always like sit there and wait for school to start because I would get there pretty early, and I would order some fries, and it became a common thing for me, like a ritual, and maybe it's a bias. Maybe I just ate too much, and it just stuck with me. But ever since I've tried other fries from like Wendy's and from like I think I've had one from Five Guys one time as well. But out of all the fries, I haven't had anything as good as McDonald's. I think it's probably the salt that gives it the taste. But that's mine. I don't think I even have a top 3. I think it's just McDonald's. McDonald's is my top 1. Story Anon asks, Hunter S. Thompson, just write it all down on Diner Nav. Oh,
that was a reference to our outlines from earlier.
Yeah,
Great.
That's sometimes what I do, honestly.
I have for Lessons in Love, I just have notepad documents on
Oh, yeah.
my desktop, and that is where I organize all of my things. Just normal notepad documents.
Dude,
It
yep.
is the least visually appealing way to organize anything. But it is just what I do.
I use so I have a MacBook that I mostly did work on for Lucid9, and I use the notepad. And for the longest time, I would like write ideas on the notepad, but eventually I have like over like 80 notes filled with a whole bunch of shit that's probably already outdated right now. And like when I first started writing that, I'm like, once this game is finished, I'm going to release all of these notes and show people just how crazy development was like over the few years, because like just the amount of stuff that we had to work on was nuts. And just writing stuff on notepad, it's not really efficient at all, so I really don't recommend people to do it on PC. Honestly, if you have like a pencil and paper, that if you wrote stuff on that, it would give you more incentive to be organized, I'd say. You know, just like write the outline there, keep it somewhere, and if you need it as a reference, just bring it back out. Because like if you have a PC, you're like, oh, I can make infinite notes, I'll just keep writing stuff until, you know, I'm at my limit. But that's how I did it. That's about, you know, I honestly don't write in the notepad in the in a physical notebook, but I probably should be doing that from now on. Okay, question by Alex. It says, can we see the document? Sorry, you can't.
Yeah, no.
No.
Just gives away everything.
Even if most
Maybe
of it...
we could find like the least useful piece of information from it and share it.
Hello, can I have all of the secrets to your video game before it comes out?
I'll just give you one sentence, and it'll be the most obscure shit that you will read that you probably won't even know. Like, you won't gather anything from it. But the document, everything, not everything, but like most of it is already kind of outdated. So even if
there's still like some shit in there though, like
yeah,
some big thing.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that still stick, but most of it is outdated anyway. So, how big is your team these days? Really fucking big, honestly. Well, at least to me, because like let me see in the. So we have like over 20 plus people actively working on this game, and that's not even including the voice actors right now. And we also had tons more for like contributors, because we had previous writers, we had previous editors, idea bouncers, and all that. And so, you know, for Lucid9, it's kind of hard to say like who came up with the initial story, because there's like a lot of collaboration. A lot of people came and went and put their own ideas. But you know, actively we have like 20 plus members right now. But before, I think it started with like, I don't know, 15, I want to say, and then a couple of people joined. I know when I joined, there's a significant number of people, I think. But there are a lot of people that came and went. There was like, I don't know, 18 probably that already went, that used to work on the game and aren't anymore. So if you want to count like the entirety of people who worked on this game, I'd say probably like plus 30. And that's only, I'm only talking about like the development and not like voice acting or anything, because that's a whole different beast. And I'm really glad that Jacob's helping with managing that, because you know, if we had to like do voice acting ourselves, just a lot of work. Honestly, John had to like convince us. John Go. He wrote us about proposing voice acting, and we were like, we don't know. We still haven't finished the entirety of the game, and you know, focusing on voice acting is gonna be a lot of work. But he's like, just let me handle it, and you know, we're letting them handle it. So they've been a big help in that area. But there's a lot of people. All right. What kind of impact? Wait. So Tapel asks, what kind of impact do you hope for the game to have on readers? You got
That they're entertained for the most part. Like that's the primary goal for writing anything. Like you want people to be invested. You want people to be confused if it's a mystery. There's no one single thing that I don't think any of us like want to get out of anybody. It's just we want to write the best thing that we can make, and we want all of the different moods to hit you how we intend them to hit you as you progress through the routes. I guess we can add on to that and say that we want any of your questions from Inciting Incident to be answered, because I know a lot of reason for this game is to answer those questions while proposing some others. But yeah, I think solving the mystery and just letting you get hit by the story like we want it to hit you are the two biggest answers for me.
Yep, I think it definitely, both of those. But like, if I was to say one more specific thing, like I would say that a lot of the story in general is sort of about finding ways to deal with this trauma and this pain, in a way that honestly like not a lot of other visual novels really go into much detail about. And so I think like that's something that has the potential to be really powerful. And so like I would say that I want to make sure that we really capture that, and we really like, I mean, especially right given the end of Inciting Incident, that we really like complete that journey, right?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, for me, I share DJ's sentiment. But I'd also like to tack on that hopefully the game becomes... So I have two things right now. So hopefully the game becomes something that gets people into visual novels, because it's a really cool genre that not many people in the West really know about. It's a lot different. They're a good number right now. But like compared to like places like the East or like Japan, it can be a lot more popular here, and it's a really great genre that I really hope people would get into, because you have amazing games like Steins Gate and Clanad that are really, really good. And it's just those types of games are games that really change the way you think about life. And so my goal hopefully is to at least become something similar to what Steins Gate was to me. And hopefully it becomes something that inspires inspires creators to create something themselves. Because nowadays with technology, people have a lot of freedom to do things, to develop games. And if they had a passing interest but they weren't sure if they should do it, you should do it. It's really difficult to do it, but if you don't try it, at least you're never gonna gain the experience. And so like for me, I know I've been working on this project for a long time. If something ever happened and Lucid9 dies for whatever reason, I can't say that I'm proud of what we accomplished and the experiences that I've gained from the game, and just interacting with the community and meeting so many amazing people. And so I guess my hope for the game has already been fulfilled in a way. So that's my answer. Katskyo says, congrats on getting through the years, especially during COVID times. Yeah, COVID has been really tough on us. Some more than others. I know a lot of people have been going through a lot of shit because of COVID. And we're trying our best to like develop everything and get through it. So we really appreciate you guys just supporting us through all this, even though, development has been super slow. We're always grateful that you guys stick around and shoot us messages. We might not always answer, but just know that we do see you. Is there a link to the Kickstarter info? Yes. Not the Kickstarter specifically, but when we announced it. We have it on our blog. I'll put it in the chat really quick. You can find the info there. And probably like maybe a couple of weeks before the Kickstarter goes live, I'll go a bit more into detail about that. I have so many windows open right now. Hiri asks, thank you to the mecha was... okay.
Tide 2. Tide, the Tasmanian Tiger 2.
Oh!
The sequel. Did you never play the sequel?
Wait. Oh shit, yeah, I did.
This is when you were talking about Tide the Tasmanian Tiger.
I did. I played all three of them, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all great. I think the first one was probably my... No, wait. I think the second one was probably my favorite. I think. Honestly, it's been a while since I played them, so... David, hey! Asks, God, I need to reread Lucid9. It's been like 2 years. I know. I need to reread everything, too. There's like a lot of stuff that goes on in Inciting Incident, honestly. So I don't blame people going back and rereading everything, especially when it comes to mysteries. You kind of like have to reread everything to get a better sense of what's going on.
Yeah, I keep having to go back to remind myself of like what interactions have happened between particular sets of characters, right? Like, what does Yahiko think of Misaki and, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because like even if you know the characters really well, like it's those specific, interactions that's like, okay, what exactly have, these particular people said to each other in the past?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of thing.
It's pretty tough too, because like, everything that we have in Inciting Incident, it's solidified. So we pretty much have to like stick with whatever is written, with what we're gonna write for the heroine routes. So like if a character has a certain interaction with someone else in Inciting Incident, it has to stay like that, or like at least explain how it's changed. Otherwise, people are gonna be like, wait a minute, why is this different? Video Gamer 2004 says, "Whoa, damn, am I late? Thanks for joining though. This stream might go on for a little bit. I'm not sure how long, but hopefully we'll try to answer everyone's questions. This may have been already asked, but how is the second half of the voice acting patch for Lucid9 going? So that's a bit tricky because like with the Kickstarter, the thing is right now, development's been on pause because we want to like make sure the Kickstarter's like all sorted out, and then once we have that sorted out, we kind of like resume, especially for the voice acting, because like I really don't want the voice actors to do all the work, and then it turns out like they don't have to continue because we didn't reach the stretch goal this time. And so, just want to be safe, and like what we have, we'll stick with that. And whenever the game gets funded, then we'll continue. But for the voice acting right now, progress, it's like most of the voice lines are already in up to like day 6 out of 13 days, I think. So we're gonna progress at a faster rate once the Kickstarter's live. So, yeah, as DJ said, it'll be a stretch goal. Another question: what is the stretch goal? Oh, DJ already answered this too. Yeah. You guys are better at chatting than I am. Will we be able to overcome the shock from the end of Inciting Incident? I don't know. I guess it depends.
Maybe.
We'll have to answer.
It's up to you.
We will try to help you as best we can.
I feel bad because like, when I was developing this with Dia, and when I first joined, I'm like, that's a funny idea, having the heroine die. That's funny. It'll make everyone sad. And then I started watching like a ton of anime and like manga, and there's like this certain story that had a similar thing, and I'm like, oh shit, they pulled the same thing I did with Inciting Incident. Now I feel what the readers feel. So I emphasize with you guys. I'm sorry to put you through so much pain, but if I had to be completely honest, I just went along with the idea. It was mostly Dia, so you can blame him. You can blame him. Raise your pitchforks against him. What were some special things to consider when writing your specific characters? You guys can answer this one.
I lucked out with this. I feel like Irie was the one that people knew the least about after Inciting Incident, so I had a lot to work with. The biggest thing for me was writing for a character who is overwhelmingly silent is an interesting type of challenge because you have to convey the same amount that you would convey for any other character, but with significantly less words. And so the utilization of ellipses, for example, I feel like ... can mean so many different things in Irie's case, and I wanted that to kind of shine through, and I think it worked. But it's just the fact that she's so quiet and so mysterious to everyone. It's like those are things that I had to keep in mind while writing her, because it's like, how do I explain this with the littlest amount of text possible? Which is a welcome challenge. I've never written a character like her before, and I'm confident with what I did.
Hudson?
Yeah. For Mitsuki, like, I mean, honestly, probably the main thing, and this is several things in itself, but like, she's so deeply embedded in like internet culture, but like not even the culture of the real internet, the culture of a fictional version of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like trying to, what sorts of memes, what sorts of, social media things, like all of that sort of stuff. It's like, be careful to like build that out in a way that is consistent and accurate and like, captures all of the facets of that for her. But then on the flip side, right, like also involved in like, she has the street accent, right, like from those experiences, and so it's like trying to balance all of that out, and sort of developing these different almost dialects, right, of these different parts of the society.
Mm-hmm. Generally, it's been pretty difficult writing for characters because like, or the story in general, because like, we came after everything was developed. Like initially, like all of us. I came like a month after everything was sorted, like the main points of the story, and so we pretty much had to pick up characters that were developed by other people, and we had to like mesh them in a way that kind of like what we would prefer them to be, and what we enjoyed writing, and so the process was a bit difficult, and we had to make sure that the characters aligned with the way the story was going, because like. The characters and the story are really intertwined, and so you can't have a character be, too offset compared to the other ones, because it might not match the theme the story is going for. And so it's just like picking everything up after the fact has just really been difficult, and it's also probably one of the reasons why it's really difficult, why everything's been progressing so slowly, because we've brought on so many different writers over the years, and they had their own idea of like how things should go and how this character should act.
Yeah.
And every time someone leaves, we kind of like have to not start from scratch necessarily, but we had to like tweak things a bit while also tweaking the story and making sure everything fits and doesn't like explode. So that's been pretty
scrapped basically everything about Irie's background, but I mean, thankfully none of that really came through in Inciting Incident, so like players won't know that it's gone, but like at least from my point of view. It was like I'm creating an entirely different character with this base that already exists, and so there was a lot of room to work for me, and I feel like at least that aspect of it was easier than if I were to pick up after one of the other characters, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you have already told people like some of your story, so I had more wiggle room with that, but it was also creating a brand new character to fit in this world and like trying to figure out how her information will somehow be relevant to this world. So, yeah, that was the thing too.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, part of it's a cycle too, right? You know, because now that it has been this long, even the ideas that we came up with are now in that stage where it's like, you know, that was several years ago. Like, are we still happy with those?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we ourselves are then iterating on that as well. So,
Yeah, that's why usually when you start very large projects, the best thing that you should do above all else is to set a date and make sure you meet that deadline. Because the longer it goes on, the more things change, the more people come and go, and you know, eventually it's not even the same story anymore. And so
Yeah.
it loses its consistency. And that's you know, that's gonna be a big problem if, you know, you have a very large story and, you know, it gets hella messy eventually. So honestly, if you're like an aspiring visual novel creator, the best advice I can ever give anyone, please start out small. Don't ever create a very large project right off the get-go. Just do something small. A couple games that I can think of right now that are small and are amazing are Dischan made one with that. I always forget the name of that visual novel though. Dischan is it Dischan Media? Yeah, Juniper's Knot. Juniper's Knot was an amazing game.
oh,
And that was a very short game too. And so, you know, you can be ambitious and you can have, you know, very large ideas.
1.3 million run by game.
But like, just start out small, and you'll eventually build up the experience. And whenever you have the experience to tackle something bigger, you'll know what the hell you're doing. Because I know when I first started, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And now that I have a better idea of what I'm doing, I'm like, there's a lot of things I wish I could have changed. But we can't anymore. And just that's the issues with starting off, not having any experience and being a bit too ambitious.
yeah, I would just say Planetarian also is a good example.
I fucking love that game.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's relatively short, it's relatively simple, but it's really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you know, like that would be potentially something to aim for first before going right into, you know, Steins Gate or Planet or whatever we're doing now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a bit. I don't know. It probably doesn't apply to everyone, but I know personally, I prefer short stories more than the longer ones. Because, you know, when you read a short story, the writer is pretty limited, and so they have to make it as impactful as they can in a short amount of time. And so when you read it, a lot of the times a short story is going to be amazing. And but if you when it comes to like longer stories, sometimes it has its pacing issues. And so you might be reading like something like Resaya. A common complaint that I heard about that one was like it has a lot of pacing issues, and there's too much of like this one thing in the beginning, and they kind of like advise readers to keep trudging through to get to the end, just to like get what the game is going for and kind of like get that impact. And it's kind of like the same with Lucid9, I'd say. But pacing issues are like a big thing for longer stories, and I just prefer short stories. And I kind of lost what I was saying, but yeah, I love short stories. Wait a minute, did I change my audio? No. Okay.
You sound the same to me.
All right. I was hearing something. I think I'm going crazy. All right. Next question.
I think the next question, because we've just got another voice acting thing, which we've done a bunch of times already.
Yeah.
The next one that I see is what were the inspirations for some of the game's situation and designs.
Okay. Yeah. That one's a bit hard to say because like the main points of the story we really didn't come up with ourselves, so we can't say what inspired the initial thing. Based on what Dia told me, and he's the one who did most of the game previously. It was really based off of like 999, I think he said, and the what is it? Ever seen visual novels? Ever escape?
No clue.
I think it's Ever 17 visual novel. Yeah, it's based off of that too.
Oh.
I haven't read any of them, so it was like a lot of like science fiction. I think that was the thing, and a lot of like mystery and horror, if I'm recalling right. But I guess for the route specifically, if you guys wanna like at least stuff that you might reference, I guess.
Well, Irie is an otaku, so there's a lot of gaming stuff. I get to allude to a bunch of my favorite games and kind of put non-copyright infringing spins on them. But other than that, it's like, I don't know. I feel like her route wasn't greatly inspired by anything. I guess the way she speaks and how I wrote her is slightly influenced by Kagari from Rewrite, which I feel like, at least for Rewrite as a structure and the Heroine Roots as a structure, they are similar games, going for similar type things. So I feel like that connection is something relevant to the Heroine Roots as a whole, particularly in the case of Irie and Kagari. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I don't know if I could point to anything specific. Like, I've just been trying to like read as much as I can, and so it's probably a combination of all sorts of different influences at this point. Yeah.
I say generally, when I am plotting stuff for like the main outline, I guess I take a lot of inspiration. Not so much as like the content, but like just the overall feeling, I want to say, and probably just like the style, Steins Gate. Just the fact that I like it, and it pretty much influences my creative things regardless. So I'd say that's been a pretty big influence on me. I also really love Sayano Uta, but
Yeah.
you really don't see that. You don't really see elements of that story showing up in Lucid9 often, I think. But it's
See
just
elements of that in my game.
yeah, maybe in DJs, but not in Lucid9.
I love Saya Notes. I have a Saya print in my room.
Oh really? Oh shit.
Yeah, she's great.
Where'd you get him from?
I got that from an artist alley at a convention probably like 8 or 9 years ago. I've had it for a long time.
Oh. Yeah, I've been meaning to get in a lot of art because I went to an anime convention a while ago and actually got to see Yama's voice actor, which is cool.
Yeah. John, right?
No, not John. That was the previous voice actor. I got to see.
Oh, did he change?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can't believe I forgot his name. He shares. Okay, yeah, Daniel Acosta.
Oh, Daniel Acosta, him?
Yeah.
I know him.
I got to meet him because apparently he's in the same state. He has the same last name. He does voice acting like me.
Yeah, I
Which is-
confused you guys a lot, like a long time ago.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, are we related? And he's Hispanic, I believe, too. So I'm like, wait, man, there are too many coincidences. There's no way we're not related. But I got to meet him, and we went to Artist Alley, and I picked out a lot of different art pieces. Actually, let me show it for the stream really quick. Hold on. So we got this one, Hu Tao from Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I have a
Amazing
Hu Tao
artist.
wallet.
I'll probably post the artist's social media, like in YouTube or something. And oh shit, this is Lucid9 from Luna. I don't know if she's actually selling the prints, but I'll ask her about it. Maybe
Yeah, I
we should
want
Kickstarter
one.
that.
What the hell? Was she an exhibitor there? Like, did she have a booth?
No, this was actually, I got this from her online store.
Okay, neat.
Yeah. And I also got this one from the anime convention, which is from Durarara. Durara?
Rah, 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 rah.
Durarara. Isaiah Odihara, I think his last name is. It's amazing art. Yeah. But yeah, I've been meaning to get a lot of art so I can hang it up on my my walls, because as you can see, it's very bare. Yeah. Where was I? Okay. This game was my Natsu. This game was my first VN game. Oh boy, was it such a blast to play. The whole game was an awesome experience, though I sucked at the detective part of the game. I got to the harem achievement. Honestly, I'm the developer. I'm one of the developers of the game, and I honestly didn't know what the fuck to do with the mystery either. Honestly, because we had an outline for that. Luna made the outline and everything. She posted it on the Trello thing, I think. And I read that. I'm like, yeah, I still don't know what to do. And so I asked them about it, and they explained it to me. I'm like, oh shit, that's how it goes, huh? That's how it goes. It was really interesting because like they put Luna, and I think Dia worked up on that bit too. They put a lot of effort into it. I know Luna was working on that for like 3-4 days straight or longer, but she went ham on that, and it was really great. And if there's one regret that I had, I just wish that we had more segments like that in Inciting Incident, because I also know that a lot of people were caught off guard by that, just like slice of life in the beginning, and boom, if you make the wrong choice, we're fucking dead, boy. You gotta make the right one. And so hopefully we'll kind of like mend that in the heroine routes, you know, offer some choices, and hopefully it won't be too abrupt. Finally, we get to find out what color Rui's underwear was.
That's just when we were talking about all the secret information in the document.
It's not even in that document. The underwear.
Yes, it's a level
We're
of
detailed,
secret
but we're
beyond
We
not.
don't
that
even know.
We don't even know. We're detailed, but not that detailed. I think if anybody knows, it's probably Dia. I think he's the one who made Rui's character. So
Whatever color we imagine it is.
yeah, just think it up yourself, I guess. It's a mystery. If you had to list one thing, so Kappa Manchild, if you had to list one thing that was a huge challenge in writing Lucid9, what would it be?
I feel like assimilating is the answer for me. I was familiar with Lucid9 before coming onto the project, but I wasn't like insanely familiar. So I played through the game like 2 times because David came to me and was like, "We need a writer for Diary." And I was like, "Okay, that's a thing I want to do." So I like played the game a bunch of times to like just absorb as much information as I could. And I was like, "Cool, I think I know a lot now." And then I joined the team, and I looked at the master document, and I was like, "Never mind, I don't know anything at all." And so it was just a lot of like learning how everything is happening in the background and what my part in that story is. So there's a lot of fucking information in this game, and it's just really overwhelming having to take all of that in and not forget any of it while writing, because it's like I'm only focusing on one aspect of the story. There are still things happening in the background, and I, without knowing what is happening in the background, still have to account for what is happening in the background. It's this really tricky situation, but thankfully there are a lot of other writers for the game, and we were able to kind of work for each other, and like if we have questions, everyone's always there to answer them and explain how things would work on the opposite side of the spectrum and all of that. So it's just figuring out all of the information was the biggest challenge I faced personally.
Yeah, I think along similar lines, like, especially the aspect of it now that there are, 4 routes being written in parallel, right? Like, keeping track of the information to make sure that it, like, I mean, obviously the routes are going in different directions, but like, there are certain things that we want to be consistent or at least not contradict themselves. And so it's like, keeping track of all of that across the routes, I think, is also a challenge.
Yep, 100%. Same thing. I have it a bit different because like I don't necessarily have to like work on the writing, but I pretty much have to like oversee the general story of the game. And but even then, it's like just keeping track of everything and making sure everyone's on the same page is pretty tough. So that's a big thing. I was gonna add something to that, but I forgot. No. All right. There was definitely a huge challenge. You definitely have a huge challenge if you're doing any sort of project, honestly. I think, yeah, the main challenge is just like communication and making sure everyone's, good with what they're writing, and if they have any questions, just making sure. Deadlines are also a big thing for projects. Just nuts overall. If you ever get into game development, one thing I would suggest is just being very good at communication, and I guess even social media, because like if you want to build a presence and have people learn about your game, that's really good. And that goes for any job, honestly. Social media presence and marketing and PR. This visual novel actually got into this genre, so thank you. We're nice. We're very, very, very glad that you got into the visual novel because of Lucid9. And that's one of the main reasons why we made the game, just to get people into it. We're fans of visual novels, and we want people to read them. Hire says, do you guys have a good chuckle when you see the occasional angry posts in the stream forums about the ending? Yeah, honestly, yeah. Sometimes a lot of them we know that they're joking. They might be angry about the ending, but they like the game overall. But there are like a couple of occasional people who are like, fuck this game, I fucking hate this game because this ending, they killed this character, there's no way they can redeem it. Why even bother reading the next part? And like they're earnestly angry about it, and for that,
good. That means that we affected them.
yeah, at least they're affected in some way.
No,
honestly,
it's good that they care. Yeah.
There's really nothing we can do about it other than laugh. But it's also valid. We understand that people are going to be angry because of that. Even Dia knew when he created the idea, people were going to be pissed about it. That's probably why he did it. And
best reason to do something.
That's the reason to do something.
Intentionally inciting negative reactions is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great.
They're for the reviews, I really don't take them as seriously as I used to anymore, because like there's a review that I saw a couple of years back, and on Steam, I think, and it said, "I don't like this game because it doesn't have WASD keys," meaning they thought it was a 3D game. And I'm like, it's in the description. It's a visual novel game. What are you talking about? And there's other.
Yeah, I get that. Somebody posted a review for my game where it's like, all you do is read.
All you do, what the fuck?
That's
Read.
literally the point.
It's like that's the problem, you know. Visual novels, it's a great genre, but it's probably not for people who don't like to read, you know, because that's pretty much all you do is read. So if you don't like reading, you probably won't get into it. But the reviews, you know, I take them with a grain of salt. Sometimes you get these really helpful reviews, really critical reviews. You know, they have, you know, maybe a couple paragraphs. This is why I didn't like the game. This is probably something they should fix in the future. I'm like, nice, thank you for leaving that. Even if you left a negative review, that's great. But if you get reviews that are like, this game is shit because I had to read, it's like, well, that's on you because you didn't read the description. Or, you know, honestly, you also get some positive feedback where they, you know, tell you this is why I like the game, and these are the reasons why, and this is why I suggest people to read it. But you, on the other spectrum, you also get people who are like, this game is bussin', and that's all they would write, and leave a positive review. And there's nothing wrong with that, but like, I just think it's funny. Like, I guess that's the nature of reviews, I guess. But as a developer, I usually really not prefer, but like, I really like it when people leave like a couple paragraphs at least of what they thought about the game, even if it's bad. Where was that?
The only other thing I would say about reviews about the ending in particular, is, I mean, I do find them interesting to read in that, like, a lot of the time it is clear that, like, they say, oh, this is a terrible ending, but it's like, you know, either that means that, like, they weren't paying close enough attention or we didn't make it clear enough, right? Because the whole point is that it's not an ending. Like, if that was actually the ending, that would be a pretty terrible ending. But,
Yeah.
like, obviously there's a whole other part, and, you know, obviously we haven't provided all that much evidence that it is there and it is coming, but, you know, it will be. Like, obviously, you've only gotten a small portion of the story at this point.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're expecting everything to be nicely wrapped up, then obviously that's not going to be the case.
Yeah. Honestly, it's been pretty tough too, cause like, there are a lot of people that I see some messages and on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and there would be someone asking, "Is the game dead? Or did the developers disband?" And even though we kind of like consistently update the blog and social media, people still ask that. And so I guess communication just needs to be better for on our end, I guess. Communicating the progress that we're doing and what are we working on, how exactly are the routes structured, what are we going to expect for the heroine routes, the continuation of the story and stuff like that. And so this is kind of like why I wanted to do this stream too, because it gives us a better chance of like going more in depth into that, rather than like writing a page on the blog and like posting it on multiple things, because, you know, not many people like reading either, and it's also really fun and great to interact with the people directly. So hopefully that does a better job at making people realize that, yeah, we are still working on this, and we're making progress, and hopefully this Kickstarter that we're working on is successful. And yeah. Video gamer says, I played this VN directly after playing Zero Escape and did not disappoint. Lucid9 was a wonderful experience. Thank you. I've been meaning to get into Zero Escape, honestly. Ever 17, Zero Escape, all those. I just don't have the time like many other people. I really wish I had more time to consume media, because if I don't, usually a way for me to distress. It's like playing video games, reading video games, visual novels, watching anime. And if I don't do that, I go berserk. I'm just sad, overwhelmed. And so those really helped me. I remember finishing this VA, Finns says, I remember finishing this visual novel in high school. You guys have been doing an amazing job. By the way, Liz is best girl. Thank you.
You're wrong, but okay.
I don't know
Right.
about the last statement, but honestly, it's my job to make everyone believe every girl is the best girl. So I can't say anything. I have to be indifferent. What do you think are your greatest Roblox development? Honestly,
Finding the time.
yeah,
Yep.
just time management is a big thing, especially with the project this size. You need to know like how much time you should put into writing, and it's not. I'm trying to formulate my thoughts on this because like there's so many roadblocks that there's so many things that can go wrong and that have gone wrong, and just being organized I think is another thing too. If you're not organized, then things are gonna fall apart very quickly. And when we first started this, we weren't very organized, honestly. We didn't have any. We did have Trello, but like we didn't have that much information in Trello. When we brought on new writers, we kind of like went into a call with them, and we explained to them what was going on. But the thing about that was like we would fumble over our words and they really wouldn't understand anything. And even we forgot a lot of details. And like, wait, did this actually happen? Wait, I don't know. Let me check really quick. And so this is really difficult. So just the fact of being not organized was pretty big. And communication also. If you're, especially if you're a creative director, you need to be on top of everything. And I know for me, it's been very difficult because before Lucid9, I honestly didn't work on any other project, much less as a developer. I mean, much less as a creative director. And so it's like a new experience for me. And so I've been learning as I go on. And I just have to make sure that communication is there. But yeah, I guess organization, time management, communication. What else? I think those are the three big things. I can't think of anything else. I guess aside from like trying to remember everything, but that goes with organization. So, but yeah, those were the big roadblocks, I'd say. It was also the first VN that got me into the genre. Nice. Lucid9 wasn't my first VN, but I think it definitely solidified to me just how good VNs can be. Video gamer. Yes. Visual novels are great, and we still have yet to see the full potential of them. Because, like, a couple of years ago, not many people in the West knew about it, but then things like Katawa Shoujo and Doki Doki Literature Club, like, they kind of, like, blew up the awareness of people into visual novels. And, but you also...
Yeah, I'm confident, like, none of us would be here right now without Katawa Shoujo.
Yeah.
Like, that was, like, they were the people that were like, hey, we can make these too.
Mm-hmm.
So, hell yeah, good for them.
The Katawa Shoujo, like, it was like an internet phenomenon. Like, the West has not seen like at least a popular English visual novel of that scope with that quality before. And I personally can say that, you know, without them, I probably wouldn't have gone to like anime in general or like game development at all, I probably would have been doing something completely different. And it's crazy too, because like it's a pretty small community, if I had to be honest. Because when I got into it all those years ago, it was like a couple of months after I played Katawa Sojo, I wanted to create something like that, and so I joined this team, and I was developing. I wasn't sure what was going to come of it, but you know, eventually we started making a lot of contacts. A lot of people, surprisingly, they came to us. A lot of very famous voice actors and really talented artists and composers. And at some point, I'm like, shit, I never thought this would happen, you know. And I'm really glad that I took that step too. And I had Katawa Sojo to thank for that, because I probably wouldn't have made any of these connections. I probably wouldn't even. No, wait. I'm having these brain farts constantly. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So, never did I think that I would eventually get to talk to one of the guys who actually made Katawa Sojo. And but then I realized like the community is kind of small, you know. So, you know, eventually, if you work on it and you work hard at it, you'll get to like interact with these people and maybe collaboration or something, you know. Because like I became friends with DJ through voice acting. It's like it wasn't even about game development. It was just like something related to it, like voice acting. But I think you were making what, like
Mayawiga Abridged.
Yeah.
I think that was our first introduction. I believe you played Fedora.
Yeah. So he posted on a casting call an Abridged series, and I'm like, okay, then I'll just try voicing one of these characters, and then eventually like we talked a bit, and I knew that he was interested in doing visual novels. I'm like, hey, you want to try joining us? And surprising, he's like, yeah, okay. And just, I guess the best thing about being a game developer is just meeting a lot of people and interacting with them. And that was doubly for me, because like growing up, I moved around a lot, and so I really never interacted with a lot of people. So I'm really grateful that this was mostly because of getting into visual novels. So this is why I love the genre so much. Kind of went on a tangent there. Let me look at the next question.
Oh, I think it's Spartan Cupcake. I don't know if y'all are going to see this, but Lucid9 inspired me to learn Ren'Py. That one?
Oh,
what's next?
Yeah, programming is freaking tough. Like Via tried teaching me one time, and I'm like, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. But although I think Ren'Py is probably like one of the easier engines to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
For some reason, I just
as a programmer, like you can do all the programming stuff, but then you can also like write stuff without really programming, and it's great.
Yeah, I fiddle with it occasionally, but I don't know. I have to. I guess it's a time. I just don't have time to learn the engine, which is kind of bad because I should. I am thinking about making VNs in the future. You got any suggestions and/or recommendations? Also, what programs to use and how to keep track of choices on choice-based games? Natsu. Yeah, so we kind of touched on this a bit. So the thing is, like, start small, please. Especially if you haven't had experience making games before. And start small, build up experience. And after that, just being organized. For specific programs, I would say Google Docs. It's great, because if you're working with multiple people, you can share it very easily. All you gotta do is just give them permissions to the links, and they'll see it. And Trello is another one. I don't think many people know about Trello. There's probably other programs that are like better, but I haven't really looked into it. But Trello is great because it's kind of like a board, an online board where you like pin notes, and you have like visuals of like characters and places and stuff like that. And it's a great way if you're a visual person. It's a great way to keep organized like that. So I would totally recommend that. It's also free, and I think the only thing you have to pay for that is like a subscription if you want like business thing. But if you're just making a game, I don't think it's not really necessary. Ren'Py, of course, if you're making a visual novel. I don't think there's a couple of other engines out there, but I think Ren'Py is like the biggest one. I know that when we first started creating Lucid9, we were trying to make this engine on a different thing, like an online cloud-based one. And a lot of people gave us a lot of flack for that, and understandably, because like the loading times were like really bad at the time. I don't know how it is right now, but Ren'Py is just overall really consistent and great. I would probably check out other ones though, but that's mostly what VN developers do here. So Google Docs, Trello, Ren'Py. Do you guys have any other?
Nah, yeah, Ren'Py's the big one. Like,
Yeah.
I would not recommend making a visual novel with anything but that, to be honest.
I guess if you're working on, you might not have to worry about it depending on who you bring on, but creating a visual novel is like a really big undertaking. Even if it is small, you have to create the art, the music. You have to write. You have to program. There's probably something else I'm missing, but if you want voice acting, you have to maybe a self-narration thing. You can voice act it yourself. But at the bare bones minimum, I guess you can probably experiment too. You might have a visual novel that doesn't have a whole lot of text, and you can use not a whole lot of images, and you can just use like free to use images, or I'm pretty sure there's a couple of artists out there that post art that are free to use, so you can probably use those with permission, and you can develop your story like that. But I think the hardest part, at least it was for me, was the programming, because you would have to like learn it from scratch. So writing is also a big thing. If you're not a writer, then you might have to recruit another writer, and recruitment is also another big thing that you might have issues with. So depending on the size of the project, if it's small, you have more chance of like doing it all yourself if you're skilled enough. But if it's a larger project, then the difficulty there is like collaborating with different talents, and so you have to look for artists and programmers and musicians. And if it's a free project, it's gonna be doubly difficult, because you won't believe how many people we had to contact before we got yeses from people who were like, yeah, I'm interested in helping you guys out. Naturally, because not many people have time to do free projects, understandably. But if it's a paid project, you might have an easier time with that. But then with paid projects, you have to deal with funding and contracts and all that. So it's not a really easy endeavor, but if you start out small, gain experience, then I'm confident you'll be fine. If you guys have any other things to add to that?
I think I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think that covers it.
Specifically for the choice-based thing, Honestly, I'm not sure. What we've been doing is just mostly doing it. We made like, I think when Luna was doing her choices for like the ending of Inciting Incident, she had like this visual thing, and it was made on a program. I don't remember what it was, but you can probably do it in like Photoshop or something, and you can make like these
There are
boxes.
these programs, that are like specifically designed
Yeah.
for drawing flowcharts and stuff. So if you have really complicated choice mechanisms, then you probably want to do something like that to keep track of them.
Yeah.
If you mean on like the programming side of it, then Ren'Py does a really good job of that.
Mhm.
Like all of that is built in very nicely.
Yeah, if you're like thinking about, if you're trying to plan it out, it's best to do it like on a visual thing, because if you're trying to write it all out, it's gonna be very confusing very fast. So if you have like charts and like have it this boxes and like just have it connected to the arrows, and we used to do that a lot. We still do kind of, but it's very useful for choices. But yeah. Natsu also asks, what versions of Mac can I play on Lucid9 on? Honestly, it should work on every version, I want to say.
I mean, not every
No?
but I just checked the Ren'Py documentation. It says macOS version 10.10 plus.
Okay.
I have no idea what that means since I don't use Macs, but
So
I'm guessing relatively old since it's for Windows. It says Windows Vista or higher.
Yeah. So I guess probably like most versions, but probably not like the super old ones, I'd say. So if you have a recent version of Mac, that should be recent version OS of Mac, then you should be fine. If you're talking about like the system, I don't think it really matters that much because it's based on the OS. Ever 17, I need to play that. You said so Nox says, you said you would change things if you could go back in time. What would you have changed? Yeah, I would have changed just the overall feeling of the game, I guess. Because one of the main issues that I saw many people have was just the pacing. And a lot of people had issues with, like, it started out slice of life, and it went slice of life for a very long time before the mystery hit again. And if I had to change anything, I would probably fix that and have, the mystery segments come out a bit more often, so it wouldn't be so jarring. And there's a lot of other stuff too, minor things that I would change, but that's like too many to list. There's like character interactions and details and what have you. But that was my main thing, just pacing. I wish I could fix the pacing. You guys are still developing your routes though, so probably not a question so much for you.
Right, unless there was something we wish was different about Inciting Incident for the sake of our routes.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if there's anything specific there.
Yeah. I love Yahiko so much. I do too. He's my favorite. Not many people give Masato that much love. I'm realizing.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to change that.
You gotta.
all the Kuragane presence in my route should hopefully spark some.
There's no way people can not love him because he's buff as hell. He's smart. He's athletic. He has some flaws. A lot of people have flaws, but that's what makes him attractive. He's big-headed sometimes, but he's overall a great human being. There's no way you can't love him. So, you guys should. I'm really excited for you guys to see how he develops during the route. Also, Nock says, will there be a bad ending? As an unfortunate situation for the protagonist? Yes, there will.
There's a best ending, too.
And a best ending, yeah.
Yes, there will be a variety of possible endings at various points in the route.
Yeah, it's kind of natural with like visual novels because I guess it really depends on the viewpoint of the person too, because like, I know when I was reading Saya no Uta, there a lot of endings were fucked up, and it's really hard to say which ending was like the good ending. And so like it really depends on like the viewpoint of the person if they thought that ending was good or not. But if you're talking if you're classifying bad ending as like death, then like it happens in visual novels, I guess. But unfortunate situation for the protagonist. Yeah, he's gonna be in very bad situations, unfortunately. It's for the sake of the story. I think probably all of them. This reminds me of an old question I asked a year ago, maybe. But what's the current word count looking like? I mentioned this earlier for the word count. I can give you.
Yeah, what's the total, right?
Yeah.
Three's around 100,000 right now.
Let me give you a quick total for everything though, right now.
Total would be probably 300,000-ish then.
So
A bit over 300,000.
150.
I remember Elizabeth being like close to, if not over 100 as well.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is almost 150.
So,
Yeah.
So right
Because it's
now, for all the
Or
heroine routes, I have total of 325,000 words.
Nice.
And
I mean, I think you put that together a while back. Right?
yeah,
I think that been...
so it's not really indicative of like the current progress or whatever. But
I estimate another at least 20,000 for Irie too until it's done.
yeah. So it's gonna change, but it's pretty lengthy, that we can say. Katawa Sojo, goated, definitely goated.
Hanako, best girl.
You know, I feel so bad because I honestly didn't finish reading her route.
Oh man.
After all these years.
I was like genuinely in love with her for a while. Like, didn't even care that she was a cartoon. I'm like, I have actual feelings for you, and they're real. And sometimes that happens with visual novels.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was, I think, the first time that ever happened to me, though.
One thing is like I was kind of afraid to read the other routes too, because like I've made such a connection with this person. I really don't
That's
want.
how you know it's a good visual novel.
Yeah.
That's like the key. It's like, I don't want to do any other routes because I got everything I wanted in you.
Mm-hmm. I didn't finish it because I just didn't have time, and I'll have to do it because I love Katawa Sojo. I don't know
It
why I
was
didn't.
so good. Ugh.
I have to reread it again. Maybe for stream. I also, this is not a self plug, but I stream on the side and I stream visual novels. So if you wanna hang out with me during those times, I'll usually post it on my Twitter. But anyway, I sometimes hear the joke that the real Lucid9 was the friends we made along the way, but I'm starting to think that there's an inkling to truth to that. I've met a lot of interesting and creative people on the Discord server since I played the game, and I think that's a big part of what kept me here. Yes, we're really thankful you guys hang out in the Discord server and on social media and stuff. We might not always be very communicative, but you know, we see you guys and we're trying to do our best to make sure that you guys know that you're appreciated. Because if
That fan game is very impressive.
yeah, that fan game is fucking nuts. Like you wrote so much and it's so detailed. Like shit, you're putting us to shame, dude. You're putting us to shame. Favorite anime?
Not After Story. Easy. Next.
I need to watch that, but like I'm scared of being emotionally destroyed for months on end.
No, it's emotional destruction in the best possible way. It like made me reevaluate my life.
After I finished Angel Beats, like I wasn't the same person.
Oh, fucking Angel Beats has nothing on Clannad After Story. It's like watching like Barney.
I need to watch it. I'm definitely gonna do that soon though. But like I've watched so many animes that I don't know where to begin. But if I had to name one, and I'm probably cheating, I would say Steins Gate.
I knew you were gonna say
I
that.
would say Steins Gate.
I was like, here it comes.
Steins Gate.
Everything.
If Steins Gate is an applicable answer, David will choose it.
Steins Gate. What's your favorite food? Steins Gate. Banana. Banana's my favorite food. But it's. I say, aside from Steins Gate, I'd probably say anything from John Maeda. He's a fucking amazing writer.
I don't know if I'd say anything by Jun Maeda, because he's been dropping the ball lately.
Really?
In the last few years. But yeah, he's absolutely one of my favorite writers and creators in general.
He also made I think they came out with a recent mobile game too. Red something. I have to look at it later.
I don't know. I know Summer Pockets is getting an anime though, and that's a thing I'm very excited for.
Yeah, I just read that recently.
Great game.
Yeah.
Oh, Heaven Burns Red. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I know very little about that.
Yeah, I think it just came out just like a year ago. It got delayed because of COVID. But
He was also really, really sick for a while too.
with COVID.
Like before COVID, he was like in the hospital for probably like a year. It was bad. Yeah, he was like clinging to life, but he's fully recovered now.
I didn't know any of that. Jeez.
Yeah, it was like a worry that he would be no more soon for a little while.
You know, he wrote Angel Beats, I believe, and he did Clanad, and he did a whole bunch of like very emotional stories. So that's why I really like him. So,
Yeah, he's a sad boy.
he's a sad boy. Likes making other people sad.
Damn right. An inspiration.
An inspiration to make other people sad. I really like the moment between Masato and Yama near the river. Yeah, we definitely need more moments like that in the routes, and you will get them. Because then it can run Renpai on games except Lucid9. What?
Yeah, that probably a follow up to the Mac question.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If there's some specific about Lucid9 that's having an issue on the
That's
Mac, then
weird.
definitely-
Maybe it's because of what we did with the prologue scenes. Ever since then, everything's been kind of really weird. But hopefully, with this new patch, we'll have everything sorted out, and the new patch will come when the Kickstarter's live.
Yeah, but like also if you're getting some sort of specific error message on Mac, then definitely like post it. I think that there's a channel in the Discord for like bug reports and stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely let us know if that's something that you're running into.
Yeah. Lily, best girl. It's okay to be wrong sometimes, DJ.
But I'm not. Lily was good as Hanako's friend.
Lily, I would say, you know, even though I didn't get through her entire route, I would say probably Hanako's the best one.
Because that's the right choice. And I'm proud that you were able to say that.
Yeah, once I finish reading it, it will solidify my opinion. So, how can you not finish Hanako's route? I'm sorry, I answered that question. I'm very sorry. Summer Pockets is fantastic, yeah. Alright, David, what's the best piece of Steins Gate content? If I had to be completely honest with you, I didn't read, like, the Zero yet. But
Zero's, you have to read it.
yeah, I have to read it. But if you're talking about, like, Steins Gate between the visual novel and the anime, it's kind of hard, because the anime is really great. And not only the anime is great, but the English dubbing of the anime is great.
It's amazing. It's so good. The dub of Zero, however, is not good. So that's unfortunate.
Oh boy, yeah, that's one of my issues with anime watching dub, because I love dub, but the problem is sometimes it happens so often where they change actors or like something happens, and it's not the same anymore. Like the next season.
It's like with Steins Gate in particular, it's really awkward because it's not only that, it's they literally change the way like characters are addressed at times, like because obviously Japanese you go last name first name, but Steins Gate like swaps back and forth where sometimes characters will be like last name first name, and then sometimes same characters will talk to those same characters and change the order of their names because they kept switching directors. And it was just like a thing nobody knew how to deal with. And there were like different pronunciations for characters, and then there was the really awkward part of the Zero dub where Monica Rial tried to speak in Japanese, which was a strange directorial choice, but I like understood the rationale. It was not a good scene though.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it gets pretty tough with directors for dubbing too, because like translation is not an easy task, especially when it
No.
comes to like Japanese. So I understand, but at the same time, you know, you got to get it right. Otherwise, you're gonna have people hounding you about it for years to come. I think, well, it wasn't a bad dub, but I think because it was so silly that people liked it. It was the Ghost Hunters dub thing.
Stories?
Ghost Stories, yeah.
Yeah, that is a fantastic dub.
It's like, I guess they kind of realized that there's no way they can translate it correctly, or like for whatever reason they're like, you know what, let's just fucking go ham on this and then act all silly about it, and then it turned out pretty great. Honestly, it was way different than like the original story, but you know, still.
Well,
pretty
yeah,
fun,
the studio that made it, they gave it to Funimation, and they were just like, do whatever. We were not able to sell this. It's yours.
They did a pretty good job at it. How do you all make these funny scenarios in the story? Honestly, that's probably
The writers.
Yeah, the writers. But if you're talking about like specific ones, you gotta ask Luna about that, because she did most of the scenes in Inciting Incident. They were pretty hilarious. I think I did a couple of them, but I just figured, hey, I found this funny. I think people might find it funny, so I wrote it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of it is the characters, really.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you have those, solid enough characters, you just, put them in a situation and, like, funny things happen, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess it's like that saying, if you write characters that are pretty good, they basically write themselves, or something like that.
Yeah.
How the heck did I just find out about this Lucid9 fan game? Yeah, it's a thing Spartan, right? He's been working on it for quite a while. It's pretty good. I liked it. The thing is, I downloaded Lucid9 on my Mac after the new update. I wanted to replay the whole game again, but the game doesn't even open up now. Yeah, just leave a comment in the Discord, and we'll try to help you with that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people have that issue too. Huh?
Is it something specific to Mac after the update? I don't think I had.
I think, yeah.
About that. Huh. I mean, it definitely, like, what I understand is it does take it had been taking a really long time to load in general, which hopefully should be fixed in the next patch. But
Yeah.
yeah, it just closes. I don't know what's doing. It's weird.
Yeah, we'll get all that sorted out.
Yeah.
Will we be getting a 5th episode of the Lucid9 podcast? Honestly, I would consider this a Lucid9 podcast, because this is pretty much what we did for the podcast, except it was like shorter form. The podcast, honestly, I feel like it's a bit harder to do those, because like I kind of like had to mix everything together. And so I feel like streaming everything is probably the easier way to go. And also gives us a better way to interact with each other, rather than like through comments and stuff. So maybe we'll do it eventually for something different. Maybe another interview or something. But generally, I would like to stick with streaming stuff. Hopefully. Actually, I need to use the bathroom really bad. So if you want to entertain chat while I'm gone for like 2 minutes. You guys.
We can do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure,
I think we're close to wrapping up anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
All
Looks
right.
like we have like one more question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Or 2 more questions. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 more. All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay, so let's see here. Any upcoming VNs we are hyped for? Yeah, okay. So I have been looking forward to Irotoridori no Sekai for fucking years now. And it's been like 99% complete for also probably like 5 years now. So that's annoying. And I am doubtful that it will ever actually release, but that's an entire trilogy of games from Favorite, which is the people the studio who made Hoshizora no Memoria, which is another one of my favorite visual novels, just like pure slice of life astronomy club stuff, just moe shit, and it's so good. And this is apparently just a trilogy of stuff also like that, but with more story and more dramatic effect, and the art is absolutely beautiful. And it was supposed to come out like 2 years ago, and it's still not there. And I think Soul Press is the circle who was supposed to do the translation / release of it, and they are just fucking radio silent because like, why would you respond to a thing where you earned like $85,000 and you can just ghost on people and keep the money without releasing the product? So like, why would you even address the customers? That's a good business move. I'm salty, if you could not guess.
Might have guessed.
Yeah, it's they need to get on that and actually release the game, because we paid and we want it. And then Sakura no Uta as well, which has not had a translation announced, and it likely never will, because Skaji is a fucking weird writer, and it's hard to translate anything he does. But in the event that Sakura no Uta is translated, I will be over the moon, because Subarashiki Hibi changed my life, and that was another game he was basically the everything for. And this is supposedly the spiritual successor to it. So those are the two that I am looking forward to, and I have no idea when I'll be able to play either of them. Oh, and White Album 2, which will also not ever be fully playable.
Yeah, for me, like, there's just already so much that's, like, I mean, I try to keep a pretty close eye on things that are on Steam and that are available there. But, like, that alone is so much that it's like I would rather, like, make sure that I've gone through, all the best ones there before I start worrying about things that don't actually exist yet. Because, like, as you're saying, like, they might not
that's a
ever
good
actually
Good
release.
idea. Looking forward to something for like over 5 years isn't fun. And I'm sorry to the fans here who have been looking forward to this for that long.
All right, I'm back.
At least we are actively working on it and talking to all of you about it. Soul Press is just not existent anymore.
What?
Talking about Irotori Dori no Sekai, which is a visual novel that earned like almost $90,000 on Kickstarter several years ago, just for the localization of it. And Soul Press, which is the company that was handling it, has just been completely silent, and it's been marked off as like 99% complete for years. So fuck them.
Yeah, that's that. I've been reading a lot about visual novel Kickstarters, and there are a couple of them that like say that they're getting things done, and then after like a while, they just don't communicate at all anymore. And
Most of them are like that. It's disgusting. Yeah. Love was like that too.
And it kind of leaves like a bad taste in people's mouth, and it really doesn't want. It deters people from giving developers that actually try to develop a game. They won't reach the goal because people have had the experience of like being shafted by these other people. You're like, why would I fund another visual novel when I know it's not gonna get done? And so, yeah. So that's kind of my main thing too, because like I want to make sure that people realize that we're trying our best to like be as open and communicative as we can about development, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job at it. At least compared to some other people. It might be a couple of months from like when we post development updates, but you still get them every so often. There's some people who like write one thing and then like for a whole entire year they don't say anything else, and it kind of leaves people wondering like what the heck is happening. And hopefully we do a better job at while we're communicating. Hopefully we can do it even more now, especially with the Kickstarter coming up. That's when I'm definitely gonna hit hard. Like once everything is funded, that's when we're gonna start being even more interacting with you guys a lot more through social media and live streams and podcasts maybe, and all that jazz. So, yeah. Was there one last question?
Yeah, about the prologues.
Okay. Cherry says, I'm unsure how much you all directly worked on the heroine prologues, but how do you feel about them when compared to the work you're currently doing in terms of story consistency? Yeah, so you guys did work on the prologues.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
How do we feel about them when compared to the work we're currently doing in terms of story and consistency? I mean, good. It all came from us, so and I know I'm one of my own harshest critics, but I liked being able to write the prologues. I like writing from different perspectives, and I feel like no matter what we did for that, it would still work for the story and consistency, because it's not a point of view you're ever going to get to experience again, at least not in my route. I can't recall any additional point of view swaps. I don't know if it's that like that for the others as well. But yeah, I think it is pretty consistent overall.
Yeah, I mean, and I would also say that it was sort of nice that like the very nature of the prologues, right, was different between the different characters. Like, I mean, Iris, of course, was very in the past, right, and it was very elegant in that way. But then Misaki's was very just in the present day, up to the moment, like what all is going on right now. And so I thought that was cool as well. Because in the case of Misaki's, which I wrote, then I got to set up some things for later, right? I got to introduce a new character who you haven't like actually met in person, but it's like, hey, there's this person named Emmy. Who is she? You will find out. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is the last question we'll take, and I'll answer this one really quick. But looking at the Lucid9 roster, several folks work on multiple projects at once. How do you handle switching creator styles between the two and prevent visible overlap? Yeah, that's a big thing that we have to face. Because I know trying to think. So I know DJ is working on his own game, and Via is also doing a couple of other projects. I actually worked on them one for like Don't Open Your Eyes and Radio Signal.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of understand how I've talked to them so much, and I understand their writing so much at this point, where I kind of like I'm familiar. I can't talk right now. I'm familiar with it, and so it's a bit easier getting things handled, like making sure everything's consistent. But initially, when they first joined, and like, I didn't really know them that much, then it was a bit harder to like get everything together because there's no communication there yet. And so I guess communication is a big thing, and just reading their work is a big thing, because if you're a creator, director, and you don't read your writer's work and kind of like trust them to do it, then you're gonna be in for like it's not gonna go well, because like if you're not familiar with how they work, and then once everything's out, and then you look at it, and then you're not totally satisfied for whatever reason, and there's no way you can tell them, oh, you got to revise it, because they'll just say, then, well, how come you didn't just mention this sooner or whatever. So communication is a big thing for that, and just making sure that you read everything. So also handling creator style is just a thing that a lot of writers have to handle too, because if you're a writer, you basically have to know when to switch between like a certain style, because you're not going to be writing the same thing all the time.
Yeah,
you might be very proficient at one thing, but it's not going to be the same thing.
It's definitely a challenge. It's not an impossible challenge, though. My game, sorry if you can hear my dog barking, he's going crazy right now. My game, Lessons in Love, is extremely different tonally from Lucid9, and they are extremely different protagonists. And considering I spend like 50, 60 hours a week on one of them, breaking off of that for a character like Yama, who I've also spent a lot of time on, but not 50, 60 hours a week. It's definitely tough at first. It's like what I have to do is I will literally this is what I did the last time I worked on a Lucid9 scene. I literally got a hotel room and I brought my laptop and I like left my phone in my car and I just like would not communicate with anyone and I locked myself in a dark room and I was like, I have to become Yama again. And so I just like read all of the shit that I'd done and had to like get back into the mindset in order to break free of the disgusting cynicism of my normal protagonist. And so it's definitely a challenge. And it's weird that it's a challenge like that for me because that was never a problem with voice acting. Like voice acting, I can switch back and forth between characters, no problem. Writing is a lot more personal for me. And so it's like when I have to take myself out of something and put myself into something else, it's tough because writing's super, like I said, personal, and you get into the mindset of the characters that you're writing for. And just switching mindsets like that is something I wish I could not have to lock myself in a dark hotel room for.
Yeah, the same thing happens to me for I share the same sentiment with like voice acting and the writing. Yeah. Hudson, you have anything to add to that, or?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not really working on much else at the moment, writing-wise, so I'm able to stay relatively focused.
Okay, well, I guess that will be it for this stream. Thank you all for your support. I'm reading it right now. Thank you all for joining the stream. We'll try to do this more often. Probably maybe a bit more often after the Kickstarter, because we're trying to focus on that a bit. The only thing that's left for that is a couple pieces of art. Couple pieces of art that we'll have to put on the Kickstarter page. And I also contacted someone recently about contracts. But the hard part, which was the funding, is mostly out of the way. So hopefully it'll be sometime soon in the coming months when it'll go live. And I'll try to be very communicative about that and let you guys know if there are any updates. But I can't express how thankful I am for you guys to join and the Fallen Snow Studios members for helping out with everything basically. So I'll catch you guys later. Thank you, Hudson and DJ, for joining me today. Probably would have been a stumbling mess. So we'll try to do this more often, and I'll let you guys know when exactly on social media. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Also, I'll put everybody's social links and everything in the comment section. And also, if you have any other questions that we haven't answered on the stream, just leave it in the comment section or ask us on Discord and we'll try to answer it. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Bye.
Peace.
See ya.
Bye.